Right now, somewhere in the world, someone is getting away with it. They lied, they cheated, or they hurt someone deeply and nothing happened. There was no punishment, no consequence, and no lightning bolt from the sky. They're perfectly fine, maybe even thriving. And that is one of the most profoundly disturbing, deeply unsettling feelings a human being can experience. It violates something buried so far down in the human psyche that most people don't even have words for it. It's the sense that the universe should be fair and that somewhere, somehow, the books need to balance. Here's what's startling. Virtually every major civilization in human history, independently of one another, has arrived at the same conclusion. The world should have a basic sense of justice. Now, let's say the universe is not indifferent. Let's say every single thing a person does, including every word, every thought, and every intentional act of cruelty or compassion, is being recorded by something far older, far more precise, and far more patient than any court of law. What if the cosmic ledger is always somehow balanced? This is the ancient, phenomenal, and profoundly relevant concept of karmic justice. And by the end of this video, the way a person looks at their own life, including their suffering, their choices, and the people who wronged them, will never quite be the same. Part 1. What karmic justice actually is. People have asked, over vast amounts of time, the same ancient question. Why do bad things happen to good people? And conversely, why do good things happen to bad people? Why do children get sick? Why do the kindest souls in your life suffer from depression or loss, while a ruthless tycoon sleeps like a baby on a silk pillow? Most people hear the word karma and think of something specific. For instance, someone cuts you off in traffic and then they get a flat tire 20 minutes later. This is instant karma via cosmic payback. This is satisfying, yes, but that is only the surface of something ancient and extraordinary. In its deepest philosophical form, karmic justice is not a vending machine of revenge. It is a description of reality. It's a law that is impersonal, precise, and as inevitable as gravity. The philosopher Immanuel Kant wrote about the existence of a moral law within, which was the inference that the universe is structured around ethical consequence. Eastern traditions took this much further. In both Hinduism and Buddhism, karma is not divine punishment. There is no cosmic judge sitting behind a bench keeping score. It is simply the law of cause and effect operating at the level of moral reality. Every intentional thought, word, and action generates a kind of energy, a kind of ripple. That ripple moves outward through existence, and eventually, with the patient certainty of a wave returning to shore, it comes back to its source. This is like saying no matter how far someone throws an intention into the world, it eventually arcs back like a boomerang toward them. The Sanskrit word for intention is cetanā. This means the weight of karma is not measured by the action itself, but by the intention behind it. A surgeon who accidentally nicks an artery bears no karmic weight for the harm that follows, but a person who deliberately, with full awareness and malice, sets out to destroy another person's life. That intention generates something that the universe registers, and there will be blowback. This is not the same as the Western popular version of karma, which is the quick, what goes around comes around. Eastern philosophical tradition understands karma as operating across lifetimes, with the ultimate goal not being revenge, but liberation, such as moksha in Hinduism or nirvana in Buddhism. This means freedom from the cycle itself. The Western mind wants a scorecard. The Eastern tradition says the goal is to transcend the game entirely. Part 2. Why this is profoundly relevant. Here is where this gets personal and perhaps a little uncomfortable. Consider what happens psychologically when someone is hurt badly. What happens when they are betrayed, humiliated, abandoned, or wronged by someone who faces zero consequences. The research is fascinating and sobering. Studies on justice motivation, including work from social psychologist Jonathan Haidt and his moral foundations theory, show that the need for fairness is not just a preference. It is hardwired. It is among the most fundamental moral instincts the human mind possesses. What happens when fairness is violated? People obsess and they fantasize about revenge. They lie awake at 3 a.m. replaying conversations, constructing arguments, and imagining the moment the person who hurt them finally gets what they deserve. When someone cuts you off in traffic or steals your idea at work or betrays your trust, your nervous system screams for blood. This is not weakness. This is the ancient cry of a psyche that knows the universe is supposed to be fair, and it is in agony because it cannot see how. Here's the astounding thing that karmic justice offers. It offers not just comfort and not just a spiritual band-aid. It offers a framework for release. Research suggests that people who hold a sincere belief in inevitable karmic consequence show measurably lower desire for personal revenge. This is not because they are passive, and not because they don't care about justice. This is because they genuinely trust that justice is not theirs to deliver. The universe, or the law of moral causality if one prefers secular language, will handle it. And when a person can truly and deeply believe that, then the burning, festering need to see the wrongdoer punished begins slowly to dissolve. The ancient philosopher Epictetus, a Stoic who spent years in slavery, put it this way: the one thing no one can take from any person is their response to what happens to them. Karmic justice takes this further. It says that not only is a person's response within their control, it is, in fact, the very thing that shapes the reality they will inhabit going forward. So, in effect, every choice matters and every intention echoes. Part 3. The three ancient traditions. Now here is where the concept of karmic justice becomes not just philosophical but practical. This is because every major Eastern tradition that developed the idea of karma also developed a way to work with it, a way to address the karmic weight a person has already accumulated. This is not to erase the past, but to neutralize its power over the future. Jainism, one of the oldest traditions in the world, offers what might be called the detox model. In Jain philosophy, the soul is compared to a crystal, which is perfectly clear in its true nature, but obscured by what they call karmic dust. The path forward has two steps. First, samvara, which is stopping new karma from attaching. This happens through conscious vows, particularly ahimsa, which means non-violence, and truthfulness. Second, nijara, which is the active shedding of existing karma through fasting, deep meditation and service. The imagery of nijara is vivid and striking, including internal heat, like a fire burning away what no longer serves. There is something viscerally powerful about nijara, for anyone who has ever felt the weight of past mistakes sitting on their chest. Buddhism takes a different angle, which is the antidote model. The root problem in Buddhist understanding is not the actions themselves, but the poisoned states of mind behind them, including greed, hatred, and ignorance. And the Buddhist solution is the four opponent powers. The first power is genuine regret. This is not guilt that destroys a person, but honest acknowledgement without collapse. The second power is returning to core values and generating compassion for those harmed. The third power is the performance of virtuous acts as a kind of overwriting of the negative imprint, including meditation, service, and prayer. And the fourth power, perhaps the most psychologically sophisticated of all, is a genuine, specific commitment to not repeat the harmful behavior. Hinduism offers atonement, or prayashita, through devotion, penance, pilgrimage, ritual, and what is perhaps the most revolutionary concept of all, karma yoga, acting without attachment to the results. This means doing one's duty, not for the reward, not for the recognition, and not for the outcome, but simply because it is the right thing to do. Acting without attachment to results is like planting a tree whose fruit a person will never eat. The act is complete in itself. The fruit belongs to the future. Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 verse 47 states, "Let right deeds be the motive, not the fruit which comes from them." For anyone trapped in an outcome-obsessed anxiety about the future and burning need for control, this is not just spiritual advice. It is phenomenal psychological medicine. Part 4. The uncomfortable side. Now there is a shadow side to all of this that deserves to be named directly. A person might reasonably object: if karma means that everyone gets what they deserve, doesn't that imply that everyone suffering deserves to suffer? Does a child suffering from cancer deserve it? Does a person of good character who experiences devastating loss deserve that too? This is a genuine, serious philosophical problem, and dismissing it would be intellectually dishonest. Critics and many philosophers, including David Hume, have pointed out that systems of cosmic justice can slide very dangerously into victim blaming. The idea that someone must have earned their suffering has been used to justify indifference to poverty, illness, and injustice. No, that is not wisdom, that is cruelty. The sophisticated response from within these traditions is nuanced. It distinguishes between understanding karmic law as a framework for one's own accountability and using it as a weapon to judge, dismiss, or abandon others. The Bodhisattva's ideal in Buddhism, for instance, is precisely the opposite of indifference. It is the vow to remain present for all suffering beings until all are liberated. Karmic justice, properly understood, does not produce cold detachment from others' pain. It produces fierce personal accountability and deep compassion. Philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer once said, "Compassion is the basis of morality." Karmic justice at its best deepens compassion and not judgment. Part 5. What this actually changes. When someone who has wronged you is thriving, then just let them be. Don't do this because justice doesn't exist, but because justice is not lost, just because it isn't visible yet. The universe, according to these extraordinary ancient frameworks, is more patient and more precise than any human institution. When someone reviews their own past mistakes, including the betrayals, the cruelties, the moments of cowardice or selfishness, then the frameworks of Jainism, Buddhism, and Hinduism say the same profound thing. It is not too late. This does not mean to erase it or pretend it didn't happen. This does mean to neutralize its energy and to stop the bleeding. It means to begin building something different, one intentional act at a time. When you stand at a crossroads today, deciding whether to act with integrity or convenience, with compassion or indifference, or with honesty or its absence, then Karmic Justice says that this moment matters. It doesn't matter metaphorically or poetically, but it matters as a literal causal fact about the shape of the reality you're walking into. Karma, then, is a staggering, wonderful promise that the universe is rigged in favor of growth. By adopting this view, a person moves from being a victim of fate to being a conscious participant in the evolution of their own soul. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be and just be one." Karmic justice is the ancient, wondrous, and occasionally terrifying understanding that what a person is and what they choose with full awareness and intention is the very thing that shapes the world that comes back to them. The universe is not indifferent, it never was. It is simply patient, and it is always keeping score.